Get to waiting, huh?
I'm friendly, your worst enemy, charming, crass, and potentially dangerous. Have you ever heard of such? I'm invisible and impossible to touch.
What's up, it's your boy, I know Mercy the Mad Hatter, here again in a completely new location. I had to move recently, that's partially why I haven't really been making too many videos, and also I just kind of haven't been in the right headspace for it, haven't had much to talk about. I am trying to write more scripted videos, and that's taking a lot longer than I'd like it to. But I'm here today with something I'm very excited about, because it's something that I've been curious about for basically ever since San Diego Comic-Con last year. The trailer for Wonder Woman Bloodlines has finally come out. A full year after it was announced, but it's here. It's coming out later this year sometime, I'm not entirely sure when. And the trailer actually looks really damn good. I'm actually a little surprised by this. More than that, I'm surprised that it's going this with this story, and it's honestly a little boring. Like, well, not boring because I'm sure it's gonna be fine, but it's just a little uninspired. A bunch of Wonder Woman's villains are trying to attack Themyscira, which, okay, yeah, that could be pretty good, and that could be entertaining, but because of the name of the title, Wonder Woman Bloodlines, I thought it was going to try and adapt the first storyline from Wonder Woman's New 52 run by Brian Azzarello, and I was a little worried about that because I kind of fucking hate that run. I mean, it's not bad, it's just Azzarello did a lot of things with Wonder Woman and the Amazons I really didn't agree with. One of the big ones was obviously making the Amazons murderers and rapists, and at least from the trailer, it doesn't look like that's going to be a factor in this, which isn't surprising because that got a lot of fucking backlash. Like, basically every long-term Wonder Woman fan fucking hated that decision, even if they like Azzarello's run overall. Personally, I thought Azzarello's one was fine. It was actually a decent enough story. It was just the things he did to Wonder Woman's mythos was the biggest sticking point. And the one I really didn't like, but is still sticking around, is the fact that Wonder Woman is one of Zeus's children. I've never liked that idea. I wish it would go away, but it's in the fucking DCEU movie, so it's not going anywhere, and it's not going anywhere in the comics because they introduced Jason, her twin brother, and I think that's a whole other thing, but it's whatever. Back to Bloodlines. I really thought that the movie was going to be telling the same story as that first. Well, not the first storyline. It's because the first story arc was about her learning that she was, it was a bunch of shit, but I thought they were going to introduce the Firstborn, who was actually a pretty interesting villain, and one I kind of hope they bring back at some points, in the comics, or just whenever, because he's boring. He's a boring character, but he's an oh, I'm about to this is an oxymoron. He's an interesting kind of boring. There's not a lot to his character, but I like the idea that, well, if you're into mythology at all, you know that Athena was actually supposed to be Zeus's firstborn child, and she was supposed to usurp his position as king of the gods, but he did something to absorb Athena's mother into his body. I don't know if he ate her or what he did, but he did something so that she was inside of him. And then that's how the myth of splitting open Zeus's skull birthed Athena, full grown with armor and everything like that from the original myth. Like, that's where that came from. I kind of like the idea that that they kind of did something like that, but it was even worse. or like I don't remember exactly what happened with the Firstborn, only that he had successfully taken over the world, and Zeus and the other Olympians like buried him really deep on the ground and shit like that. It's a fun idea for a villain, and I kind of wish someone would bring him back and sort of give more of him and sort of give more to him, more of a character. Because at present he's basically Wonder Woman's Doomsday. Or well, no, I can't. Well, no, I can't say that. Doomsday originally didn't have any backstory. He was just a big monster that showed up and killed Superman. The Firstborn actually does have a backstory. He does have an origin. He has a reason for doing the evil shit that he does, and but I still think that you can. There are ways you can expand on the Firstborn, like giving him a fucking name for one. And like actually making him more full-rounded character. They're doing that in this movie, but I think the Firstborn should be someone should bring the Firstborn back and do something with it. But the movie itself is a bunch of Wonder Woman's villains are trying to attack Themyscira for some reason. I don't know. It could just be a giant fuck you to Wonder Woman. That's entirely possible. But also could be like Themyscira is basically a magical city-state, so like I figured there has to be like a bunch of different treasures and special weapons and technology and stuff like that, and especially considering the main villain seems to be Dr. Cyber in this. I imagine that's going to play a part in this. It's going to be one of the few times Themyscira is actually shown to be very technologically advanced, which sort of shows up intermittently throughout the comics, but it's never really brought to focus. Like when Paradise Island was first created by William Moulton Marston, he sort of envisioned it as like, yeah, there was magic and shit like that, and there were gods and shit, but it was also a very technologically advanced society. And some writers have tried to incorporate that more into the Amazon's history and Themyscira's landscape, but not a lot. Most people kind of stick to the ancient Greco-Roman stuff. But you know, it's I think they are and I think they are trying to go for that, maybe, or I don't know. Like, I don't know. They're using like bows and arrows and shit like that, but like that could just be like preference. Like, I don't know if technology is actually going to be a factor in this. Like, I kind of hope it is, but it's kind of cool. And one thing that is, I think, kind of getting on some people's nerves with the trailer itself is that, and even before the trailer drops, there was a leaked like 2-minute long scene from the opening of the movie, which retells Steve Trevor crash landing on Themyscira and Wonder Woman saving him. I think a lot of people are kind of like, we've seen this origin a couple times now. It's not quite to the extent of the Waynes getting shot or Krypton exploding. That's why I'm a little bit easier on it, because we haven't really seen Wonder Woman's origin as much as Batman or Superman's. So, especially Batman's. So the fatigue isn't quite there yet with seeing how this character came to be. But I do kind of agree that I don't think this scene is wholly necessary, although it is kind of, because a big theme of this, and probably the reason why it's called Bloodlines, is I'm pretty sure like Wonder Woman is like in a lot of versions of the Wonder Woman story, once she left Themyscira, she could never come back. Like she was either she was magically barred, or from Amazonian law, she couldn't be accepted back as an Amazon once she left the island. So and I'm pretty sure like a big thing in the early parts of the movie are going to be like after you show the origin and show Diana in Man's World doing her thing. It's an early theme is going to be for homesickness. Like she's been in Man's World for a few years now. She hasn't been able to go back to Themyscira in any of that time. She and Superman broke up fucking finally. I really didn't like. I don't like Wonder Woman and Superman dating. I think it's so fucking like it can work, sure. Like I feel like any idea can work if you go at the right angle with it, but especially in the DC movies, it really didn't work. So in Death of Superman, Superman and Lois are together, and in this, Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor are together, which it fucking should be. So you see Wonder Woman and Steve, they're doing their thing, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna come up that Wonder Woman is, homesick and shit, and then a bunch of my villains are trying to go to Themyscira for whatever. It's never actually stated why. Well, why the villains are trying to get to Themyscira, just that they are. But it's whatever. So it is a thing of her having to deal with the fact that she was banished, but she also has to protect her home, and that's probably going to be fun. Speaking of the villains, I'm actually very happy that they're going with the cast of villains that they have here. It's a fucking bit. Like there's a fair few of them, and that has spelled disaster for some movies, like Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man Amazing Spider-Man 2, and even Batman vs Superman to a certain degree. Sometimes cramming too many villains into your story can sort of weaken it, but I think instances where the villains are all working together, like from the get-go, it can mitigate that a little bit, and it's not like in Aquaman where the main threat was Orm, and Black Manta was basically just there to have a couple of cool fight scenes, but not actually affect the plot in any real way. It seems like they're all the villains are sort of working together, like all in tandem to achieve this goal, whatever it is, to get to Themyscira. And that's actually kind of interesting because it showcases that I think Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery is really cool. Like it's so fucking interesting with so many weird and fascinating characters, all with their cool little gimmicks and crap like that. But no one fucking knows about any of them except for Giganta, Cheetah, and Ares, and maybe Cersei. Because Wonder Woman's never had her own animated series or anything like that. I mean, she had the Linda Carter series in the 70s, but they didn't use any original comic villains, which makes sense because I don't think they could have on the budget the show had. And the only main reason why most people know about Giganta and Cheetah is because of the Super Friends. And the only reason anyone knows about Ares is because he's her Joker, basically. Like everyone knows that Wonder Woman's main villain is Ares, and he's in this, which I am grateful for, because it shows more of her more diverse characters, villains. So I already mentioned that Dr. Cyber is going to be in this, who is a really interesting villain that no one has ever used properly, or not since she was created in like the 70s. Dr. Cyber was created during that really weird period in the 70s, the mod era. If you're up on your Wonder Woman lore, it was a time period in the 70s where it's fucking stupid. It's in order to promote female empowerment and like the it's not suffrage, but the women's lib movement. DC, in their infinite wisdom, run primarily by white men, decided to take the most powerful female character that they have and take away all of her powers. And then kill her boyfriend. Yeah, Steve Trevor fucking died. Steve Trevor fucking died at the beginning of this, at the beginning of the mod era. Take away her powers. Separate her from the Amazons. Have her learn martial arts from some old Chinese dude. And open a mod-style boutique. That was DC's idea of feminism in the 70s. God damn. So yeah, that was, so like, she was basically a fucking secret agent in that time period. She wore a white fucking jumpsuit and did shit. She didn't have any of her powers, so a lot of her old villains didn't work, but she got some new ones, and probably the most famous and most interesting was Dr. Cyber, who's a woman who, I can't remember what she was originally known for. I think she was some sort of criminal mastermind. I think she was a thief or something like that, but I think she was, I don't know. Like, she was a genius mastermind, like she was that kind of character. Kind of like Lex Luthor before the Crisis made him into a businessman. She was kind of like that, except, well, she also had a war suit. Like, she had a full, like fucking, suit of armor and shit like that. And, like, I think during one of her fights, during one of her fights with one woman, her face got scarred, so she always wears a mask. I think she's the main villain in this, which is cool because Dr. Cyber is actually really interesting, and like I said, I kind of wish DC would do more stuff with her. So this is cool, and maybe if this movie is successful and people see, oh, Dr. Cyber is really badass, she can be in more stuff. Well, technically, she's in the main comic now. She's working with Veronica Cale, but she's really different from her original incarnation. Here, she's actually just an AI, but yeah, she's cool in that too. And the other villain, the main one, I think, like the main two villains are Dr. Cyber and Dr. Poison, who is from the movie. If you've seen the movie, I don't need to explain who the fuck Dr. Poison is. She's different. She's different from in the original cartoon. She's different from the original comic. She was actually Japanese in the original comic, which it's okay. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do with these two, but like I think they're the main obstacles in this. Like, they're the ones going after Themyscira for whatever reason, but they're recruiting a bunch of other Wonder Woman villains. That you have Giganta, she's in there. Cheetah is in here. Although it might not be, unless they just specifically decided to make her look as jacked as possible, which, okay. It might not be Barbara Minerva, this version of Cheetah. Because like, Cheetah in this, she looked really, really fucking masculine, and like the voice, it sounds vaguely feminine, but I'm not entirely sure, so it might be Barbara Minerva, or it might be the male Cheetah, Sebastian Ballesteros. I don't know which it is. I don't know, but Cheetah's in this. A Cheetah. And another character is called Silver Swan. She's one of the lesser known but also most prominent Wonder Woman villains. It's weird because she's one of her core villains, but no one outside of the comics ever uses her. There's actually been like three Silver Swans over the course of the character's history, and they're all basically the same in the fact that they're all women, obviously. They all fly. They're all cybernetic in one. Well, the first one wasn't, but most of them are cybernetic. But the other two are cybernetic in nature, and they all have a sonic scream ability, kind of like Black Canaries. I don't know which version this is, and it honestly doesn't really matter. It's probably one of the first two, because the third one is a character that's kind of needs to be built up. The third Super Swan is actually a supporting character from the post-crisis Wonder Woman run by George Perez. She was a girl that Wonder Woman knew when she first came to man's world, named Julia. They were friends for a really long time. Then some of her enemies kidnapped her, tortured her, brainwashed her, and turned her into Super Swan. So, like, it's possible that they can do that, because Wonder Woman's already been in man's world for a few years, but, like, I don't know. Like, James Robinson tried to bring in the Vanessa. I said Julia earlier. Vanessa. The girl's name is Vanessa. Her mom's name is Julia. The girl's name is Vanessa. They tried to bring Vanessa in. James Robinson tried to bring Vanessa into his run, and it was fucking terrible, because he basically rushed through her entire backstory in like one issue, which you can't fucking do. But whatever. So I don't know which version of Super Swan they're going with, but Super Swan looks cool at least. Actually, most of the villains look cool. Like, I'm still really like the way Cheetah is constructed. I don't know which version it is. Like, I don't know if it's Sebastian or Minerva, but Cheetah looks cool at least. You know, Cyber looks fine, Poison looks fine, Gigantic looks fine, the villains all look fine. That actually brings me to the art style, because I'm really excited about the art style because it's fucking different. Like I have a lot of problems with with the animated DC movies that have released in the last few years, basically ever since War came out, Justice League War came out. But my main issue is they all look the fucking same. I get that some people might like that because the DC movies have been more interconnected than they had been before. So the fact that they all look the same might appeal to most people because then there's a sense of uniformity between them. And I get that, but I've always preferred the older DC movies where every movie looked different. And that was interesting to me. Because even if the movies are actually connected, like Batman and Superman Apocalypse was a sequel to Batman and Superman Public Enemies, but the art direction for both movies are vastly different. And so after Justice League versus the Fatal Five, went back to the Tim Gunn design, and Batman versus the TMNT had its own design. And Batman Hush had the more traditional DC animated universe design, but this one has something very different. It's completely new. It's its own thing, and I really love that. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be part of the larger DC animated universe because Wonder Woman still has the same costume that she has in the main Justice League movies. I'm not a fan of it. Like, I don't hate it, but I've never really been that big of a fan of it. It's fine. It's just not the best. But I am at least grateful that they're mixing up the art design a little bit so that it's visually distinct from everything else. Like, I appreciate that at least. Another thing I'm actually really grateful for is the fact that they seem to be introducing Etta Candy in this, which is great, because Etta Candy is amazing, and she should be in more things. Like, the woman who played her in, I can't remember her name, the woman who played her in the movie, she was amazing. I really wish she had more scenes. And they're going for the rebirth version of Etta Candy, who is black, basically. And I appreciate that because Black Etta Candy is amazing, and I want her to stay around forever. Like, I want her. I want DC to Nick Fury Etta Candy. Etta Candy is black from now on, and she always will be. I want Etta Candy I want Etta Candy to be Wonder Woman's sassy black friend. That's what I want from this character more than anything. I think it works at least. Like, I know the whole sassy black friend can be a really annoying trope, but I think it works for Etta. It works for Etta because she was always Wonder Woman's fat, overly energetic fat friend. Make her black. Why not? You get the same character. You basically get the same character, except you get a different flavor of the same character. Basically, is what Black Etta Candy is. They're also going with the more military. I think they're going for the more militaristic Etta from the last few years. Ever since Infinite Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths, post Crisis, Etta has always been part of the military. I think that's what they're going for with this, because there's a scene where Steve is gearing up to go to Themyscira and fight off the villains, and Etta is with them. So, or Etta is just Wonder Woman's friend, and she's just down. Like, that's entirely possible too. Like, the weird thing about Etta Candy is, the original version from the 40s, she would go on adventures with Wonder Woman and fight bad guys with her, and she never had any superpowers. Like, as far as I know, Etta Candy has never had superpowers. But she would throw down with Nazis and monsters and just all sorts of different shit. Like, Etta was just down. And I kind of love that, and I kind of want that to be what this is. Like military Etta is awesome. I love military Etta, especially in Rebirth. She's fucking amazing in Rebirth. But I would find it so fucking entertaining if just this ordinary woman with no superpowers and no formal military training goes on a mission with fucking Wonder Woman and fucking military ace military fighter pilot Steve fucking Trevor to save the mythical city-state of Themyscira by herself, just with grit and determination. I would love that. I kind of want that to happen. I don't think it will. I'm pretty sure they're going with military Etta, but I would just love that if it was just, oh, I have no formal military training. I'm just down to fight with my girl. Like, I would fucking love that. So the Wonder Woman trailer, the Wonder Woman Bloodline trailer, I should say, it looks great. I'm genuinely looking forward to it. I don't know when the fuck's coming out, but it's gonna be fun. I can tell. I'm still waiting for Wonder Woman 84. Still waiting on information for that, DC. Can you give us that? Just anything? Like, we still know Kristen Wiig's gonna be Cheetah, but we don't know anything else. So I'm still waiting for that, but I feel like this would be a good way of tiding Wonder Woman fans over until we can get the new movie, and that's a pretty good deal. Still waiting for my Wonder Woman animated series, though. I think most people are. But this is good to have in the meantime. So, my No Mercy, Mad Hatter. I'll see y'all later.